What's goes happening, everybody? It's your boy Ferris Muthana. Welcome to another great edition of Good Friends, Better Rivals. You're watching us a little pre-recorded here on this Friday, this beautiful Friday. But it doesn't matter. We're still going to break down the thing we love the most. It's football. It was wild card weekend. We got some individual personal news about our teams as well. We'll talk about that as well. But first, we'll talk about the wild card weekend and break it down, not game by game, but, just talk about it in general. But, without further ado, I got my main man with me, the Siskel to my Ebert, the thorn in my side, the one, the only, Caleb. Caleb, how are you, my man?
I'm okay. Doing good, I guess.
Yeah.
Not great.
No, not great. Wild card weekend. It's the first
No,
time you
one
haven't
point loss.
seen
Yeah.
first time you haven't seen the Cowboys in the playoffs in what, 4 years, 5 years?
Yeah, but they always lose anyway, so
So yeah, so what's the point? That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, yeah. They made it to the divisional round 2 years ago. Remember,
yeah, that's kind of where the season ends.
yeah, pretty much. All right. But let's break it down. Wild card weekend tradition, the 1 o'clock game. We're in Houston. Houston beat the sliving snot out of the Chargers. The Chargers had a horrible, horrible game. Justin Herbert had 4 interceptions. 4 interceptions. And I'll say these men, one of them wasn't his fault. It was his tight
Oh,
end's
just
fault.
one, just one out of the four.
Just one. Why? You think all of them were not his fault?
No, it's just they do so many. One being his fault doesn't really matter.
One wasn't his fault.
I know that's what I'm saying. It doesn't really matter when you throw
Yeah,
four.
because the other 3 were kind of his fault. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, but it is what it is. But yeah, man, CJ Stroud, Rex Ryan famously said before this game, the Chargers have a bye week in the wild card round. The Houston
Seem that
Texans
way.
didn't seem that way. Houston Texans, man, they've been ravaged by injuries all year. Stephon Diggs is out. Tank Dell is out. Their offensive line has been decimated. But DeMeco Ryans got them up to play. Shout out to the Texans. Shout out to DeMeco. He took this job and he gave him specific. He wanted a long-term deal because he wanted to rebuild this team. And they struck gold with that quarterback, with CJ Stroud, looking like a great pick. The jury's still out on Bryce Young in Carolina, because he did rebound this year from the benching. So we'll see if those two guys, are pan out. We'll see about that. CJ looks like he's panning out, which is phenomenal. But Joe Mixon had over 100 yards. Nico Collins had a great game. Lad McConkey, 9 catches. McConkey.
McConkey.
What did I say?
McConkey.
Sorry. McConkey. Lad McConkey. Come on, man. Sorry, man. Sorry. I can't. That's a wide receiver, dude. That's the name of a wide receiver.
Lad McConkey.
His name is Lad McConkey. He had the third most receiving yards in a playoff debut with 197. I think only behind Calvin Johnson, Jerry Rice, and I think someone else. I don't remember the list. But he had a great year. He had a great year. The Chargers rebound from a horrible year last year with Jim Harbaugh. What were your thoughts on the game, Caleb?
Yeah, I mean, I was totally wrong about it. I think most people were surprised about the result because I think most people thought, the Texans looked bad this year. I mean, they mostly won the division because the other teams in the division weren't very good.
Yes.
If they were in a better division, they might have even made the playoffs at all. So going into it, you're not thinking, oh, they're going to come out and win this game. The Chargers were favored for a reason. They looked like the better team. They were playing like the better team. But then, anything. That's why I play the game. If you play the game, you see what happens. In the playoffs, you turn it up a little bit, and that's exactly what they did. And they played a lot better than they had been playing all season.
You think there's a lot of tension in the locker room, in the Chargers locker room, Caleb?
To who? About who?
It's a lot of Michigan, Ohio State guys. A lot of Ohio State, Michigan guys. Ohio State's making the playoffs, making the turn, they're making the final. You know what I mean? They're probably hating each other in that locker room, maybe. We don't know. No, I'm kidding.
No, I don't think that has anything
I'm
to do with anything.
I'm kidding. It doesn't matter.
No, I think they're just never, not good in the playoffs.
Can we? Are we gonna start having an honest conversation about him?
I think everybody has that honest conversation about him.
I'm a big fan of the guy. I love Justin Herbert. I've loved him since Oregon, but horrible game against the Texans.
But it's not just him. I mean, a lot of players play bad. Quarterbacks play bad in the playoffs. I mean, it's hard.
They blew the 27-0 lead against the Jaguars. I'm just, does he not have it? You know what I mean?
Well, who does?
Lamar, Joe.
But they don't have Super Bowls.
That's a good point. So just Patrick, really.
That's what I'm saying. That's always my point when they talk about yes, sometimes they don't play well in the playoffs, and because it's hard, and it's hard to play in the playoffs, but hard to play well. And like I will say, and they don't have whatever it is to get to that Super Bowl. But who does? Nobody's getting to the Super Bowl. Barely anybody's winning them because Patrick Mahomes is winning all of them, and Brady won all of them before that. So
yeah, it's true.
It's just some random splattering of quarterbacks who got lucky, honestly.
Yeah, man. So that Cincinnati Rams year, that's an anomaly, really, if you think about it, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like every single quarterback that just randomly won one, it's not the norm because all the rest were won by Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because Patrick got 3 of the last 4. He beat the Niners. He lost to Tampa Bay. He beat the Eagles. He beat the Niners. So it's really on the NFC side.
He has 4 Super Bowls right now.
No, 3.
He has 3.
Yeah, 3 out of the last 4.
And Brady won 7.
7 of 7 out of 22.
Yeah, so that's 10 out of 25?
26.
Yeah, that's like 40%.
27 because 27. Yes.
Well, like
Patrick's been in the league.
40% of the Super Bowls were won by 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah. It's like Joe Montana in the 80s where he won 4. Right, he won 4. And then one was won by the Giants.
Yeah.
One was won by the Bears.
Yeah, if you could take the 80s and 70s, 8 of 20 were won by Bradshaw or Montana.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, 8 out of 20.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's not just like these last 2 decades. It's the decades before that. Very few quarterbacks are winning all the Super Bowls.
Yeah,
Aikman won 3. If you go back in 60s, Bart Starr won however many championships
3.
with the Packers.
Yeah. He won the first. Yeah, he won 3. Well, he won the first 2. He won the first 2 Super Bowls in the 70s, right?
Yeah, he won championships before that.
Yeah, and then he won the championships, against Dallas and the Giants.
That's what I'm saying. Like all the Super Bowl, all the championships are just being won by a small amount of quarterbacks, and then you have a splattering of this and that quarterback.
Yeah, I just think people, the Tom Brady era, because he played so long. Of course, there were, different quarterbacks won Super Bowls because, if you look about him, let's look at his era from 2000 to 24 years, basically. 24 years. He has 7, right? He has 7. The Mannings, both of them have 4, 2 and 2. Roethlisberger has 2.
2.
Foles.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You get the random Foles, you get the random Flacco, you get the random
Flacco. Yeah, Flacco. So no, let's break it down, right? Let's break down the Super Bowls. Brad Johnson. Trent Dilfer. So Dilfer Johnson. So Dilfer Johnson. Manning. Roethlisberger. Foles. So already at 8. Holy snap, crackle, pop. So 8 plus 7 is 15. That's Brady. Who won the other 10? Stafford has 1.
Stafford and
Mahomes has 3.
Yeah.
So that's 19. So it's 19 out of 24. I'm trying to do some math. I think we're missing someone here.
Yeah, we are. We probably are, but that's not the point.
Yeah, that's not the point.
The point is it's a couple quarterbacks and then one here and one there type of guy.
Yeah, yeah. Because there's always a top dog.
That's what I'm saying. Like
I love
have,
hey man, I'm a big fan of Lamar Jackson. I really love
yeah,
Lamar Jackson. I think he's the second best quarterback in the
yeah,
league.
but
Because the only reason because the guy in Kansas City, he's won. He got the bling bling to back it up. You know what I mean?
yeah, I mean we've seen it. Aaron Rodgers, one of the greatest quarterbacks, won
Oh,
one.
Aaron Rodgers. We missed Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
One.
that's the whole point.
One. He has one.
Yeah, that he has one. He's one of the greatest ever, and he has one.
Yeah.
That's my whole point. That you're gonna get criticized. Oh, you can't do it in the playoffs. Well, who can? That's all my whole point is who can because nobody else is.
Yeah, that's a good point. But pretty
At
much,
least not doing this consistently, like every
yeah.
year out. I mean, there's not like two quarterbacks right now that are winning multiple Super Bowls. There's just one. Patrick Mahomes is one winning multiple Super Bowls. Nobody else is.
Mm-hmm. Could this year be the opening of the floodgate, or is the gate still going to be closed
No,
for Chiefs
it's definitely
Kingdom?
gonna be Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl.
Okay, all right. Pretty much, let's be honest with you, Caleb. Wild Card Weekend sucked. There's only one good
Usually
game.
does.
There was only one good game. It
Usually
was
does suck.
yeah. Ravens beat down the Steelers 28-14. It was they just ran all over them. They just ran all over them. Derrick Henry 26 carries, 186, 2 touchdowns. This is why you signed Derrick Henry. In the playoffs, when people are tired, bodies are aching, you don't want to see a man who's 6'3", 256 pounds running at you. You're not going to tackle him. It's just basic human anatomy and mindset. Your body hurts. Because we always say, Caleb, no one at this point in the season, no one's healthy. Like literally no one's healthy. And if you're hurting and you see this bowling ball running at you, you're going to try to tackle him, but it's not going to work because you're tired, you're beat down, and Derrick Henry is not a human being. And this is what the Ravens signed Derrick Henry for. When in the playoffs, they run the ball and they're going to beat you down. I see a lot of people talking about how like Derrick Henry is the reason the Ravens are winning. Like, no, the reason, the reason he has phenomenal rush lanes is they're not stacking the box like they did in Tennessee.
Well, I would say it's the reason why if they're going to do it this year, then I would say that was the missing piece.
Yeah, because you're scared of him now. Because with Lamar Jackson, you didn't respect Gus Edwards or J.K. Dobbins because they're always injured. They're always injured, And then they had Justice Hill, Keaton Mitchell. And pretty much Lamar Jackson was playing running back and quarterback at the same time. He was both. Because he's like, well, come on, dog.
Even if you were like, you could like against those guys, you could do something about it. Like, if you stack the box, I mean,
and then it's over. Yeah, you stack the box. Yeah. With Derrick Henry, man, he just you stack the box, Lamar Jackson's gonna kill you. So you don't really stack the box. You kind of just have base formation, and then Derrick Henry's gonna kill you. And I'm sorry, but like
basically you just have to have like make sure you have good tackling and
your coverage. Make sure you have a good defensive line who can play.
Yeah, if you play,
because
tackle, wrap up.
Yeah. You can't stack the box. You got to just make sure you got to have good run defense with 4 defensive linemen and 2 linebackers. That's
it's like the opposite when you have like a quarterback you want to stop. You just have to get you can't blitz them because they'll burn you. You just have to get your 4 and you have to get pressure with the 4. So it's pretty much like the same thing. You got to stop them with the 4.
You got to stop them with the 4. Because you want to make sure that you want to make sure to have enough people in coverage for Lamar Jackson, who's having one of the greatest passing seasons of all time. By the way, he's gonna win the MVP this year because an indicator of that is that he was first team All Pro. He was the quarterback, and 9 times out of 10, first team All Pro wins MVP because they're the same voters. They're the same voters. So it'll make no sense. You make Lamar first team All Pro, then you give the MVP award to Josh Allen. That makes no sense. You know what I mean? It just makes no sense to me. But I digress.
Well, I think it's like it's a similar. It kind of has a similar argument because Lamar's stats weren't great last year, but he still won. And then Josh Allen's stats are not great this year. And I guess that's the argument they would use to give him the MVP.
Yeah. See, that's what I like about the NBA. They just give the MVP award to the best player in the league if he's playing great that year. Like that's why like the Joker in Denver won 2 straight MVPs because he was the best player in the league. And then Joel Embiid cried about it in Philadelphia, and they gave him the MVP award. I'm like, why are you doing that? He's crying. Joker is actually better this year. He's actually better this year. So that's one thing I like about the NBA. They didn't give it to Michael Jordan a couple years. I don't know why, but I digress. The NFL needs to do that. Lamar Jackson's better than Josh Allen. He's having a better year than Josh Allen. He outplayed Josh Allen. Josh Allen had a horrible game once or twice this year. Lamar had like one bad game. It's Lamar Jackson. End of discussion. We'll keep it moving. Speaking of the Josh Allen, they beat the living daylights out of the Broncos. Sorry to Adelia.
I think
you had a good year. She wasn't expecting the Broncos to even make the playoffs. I told her they're going to make the playoffs because the Chiefs are going to rest everybody. They don't care. Josh Allen, 20 for 26, 276, and 2 touchdowns. But here's the thing that's really funny to me about Josh Allen, Caleb. They talk about Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, but they don't talk about Josh Allen and James Cook.
Because he's not as good as Derrick Henry.
No, James Cook is pretty good.
He's not as good as Derrick Henry.
No, because if you remember last year, Caleb, the Bills were playing.
You think he's as good as Derrick Henry?
I'm not saying he's as good as Derrick Henry. I'm saying he's good.
But he's not great.
He's a damn good running back.
But he's not great. Derrick Henry is great.
Do you watch the Bills?
He's not. You would call James Cook great.
He's only been in the league for 2 years. Give him one more year, and I'll probably.
Is he great though? But was he great this season?
He's pretty great this season.
But
yeah.
He's been
great for the past 2 years.
Was he great?
Let me check the numbers.
Because technically, Derrick Henry could have ran for 2,000 yards. That's great.
Yeah, that's true. But how do you know? Maybe James Cook could have ran for 2,000 yards. You don't know that.
I very much doubt it.
I don't. Oh, he barely had over 1,000 yards.
Yeah, that's not great. He was not great. He's not a great running back. Derrick Henry is a great running back. That's the difference.
He had 16 touchdowns, 5 yards a carry. Yeah, he had a couple of stinkers. No, but here's the thing. In most of their victories, their blowout victories, he played pretty good. Over 111 yards, 107, 100, 105, 120 in the Buffalo Bills game against New England. I'm reading it wrong. Why is this upside down? But he's also a threat receiving the ball as well. So there's that. So you got to make sure he's pretty damn good receiving the ball as well. Where is his all-time? Oh, here it is. He didn't do much his rookie year because he didn't start. Devin Singleton did. But then when he got the starting job, back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, I think because here's the thing that makes me laugh. Last year the Bills played like butt in the early part of the season. They fired Ken Dorsey. They hired Joe Brady, and you know what changed their game, Caleb? They started running the ball more.
Yeah,
with James Cook.
They've been very successful this year, but
yeah,
Josh Allen is also part of that run game.
Yeah, he's a thief. He steals James Cook's rushing touchdowns.
He's a thief.
He's a thief. Well, James Cook gets them into the.
Isn't the point to get it into the end zone?
Well, yeah, but James Cook brings you down to the 2-yard line, and then you steal his touchdown.
Well, he's a bigger guy.
Whatever, man. James Cook
is not a bigger guy.
Yeah, he is. Of course, he's 6'5".
Okay, so wouldn't you want the bigger guy trying to push it into the end zone?
But do you want your quarterback to get hurt?
I mean, I don't think they really care. I just think they want to win.
All right, fine, whatever, man. But the Broncos, they're a year away. Bo Nix had a phenomenal rookie year. Shout out to Bo Nix. But yeah, man, the Buffalo Bills just beat them down, and it was just a pure beatdown of the Bills. The Bills, Ty Johnson, Curtis Samuel, Khalil Shakir, Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox. Keon Coleman really didn't have him and Amari Cooper didn't have a great game. They're kind of non-factors. So that's pretty much it. Packers, Eagles, game sucked.
Yeah.
For 2 reasons. Jordan Love was injured. and
Yeah,
Jalen Hurts stinks.
Yeah.
So yeah, like literally Caleb, before the game started, they talk about how Jordan Love hurt his elbow. So I'm like, so you mean the elbow that he needs to throw the ball? Oh, that's why he can't throw the ball. And then Caleb, in the first quarter, Eagles sack him and he smashes his elbow that he hurt in the game. And then he plays badly. I'm like, of course. Like,
Mhm.
the Eagles once again beat a QB with a bad elbow.
Yeah, they always get lucky. I'm said a lot about their Super Bowl run in like 2022. They got lucky with playing the crappy Giants, and then they got lucky with Brock Purdy getting hurt. I thought they got a Super Bowl, and they only win these games in the playoffs because they get breaks.
Yeah. And then when Brock Purdy was healthy the following year, guess what the Niners did at Philadelphia? They beat them by like 40. It's like 40 to 10. Fully healthy Brock Purdy. Debo Samuel was angry.
Buccaneers in the playoffs, and I expect them to lose this weekend.
Yeah. So that's pretty much. So the game really sucked, and the Packers lost their entire receiving core. No one talks about that. Christian Watson tore his ACL 2 weeks ago. Romeo Doubs got injured in the game. Jaden Reed got hurt. He had 4 catches, 46 yards, but he got hurt. It was Devontae Wicks and Tucker Kraft.
Yeah.
That's and Emmanuel Wilson and Bo Melton. Like, these are their backups. Like, against the starters of Cooper DeJean, Reed Blankenship, Darius Slay, Kenyon Mitchell. You know what I mean? Like, of course, it was a bad game. And then let's talk about the good game last.
Before we move on from that game, I do want to talk about the one fan, the Eagles fan.
Oh, him? Why do you want to talk about that guy?
Because I want to talk about him, because I want to highlight the fact of why we hate the Eagles so much. Because of fans, because they're all like that. They're all scumbags in Philadelphia. That's why I would never go to a Philadelphia game, because they're all terrible people. They're all like that.
I would go. I just would hide my gear.
I mean, they root for a scummy franchise, so it makes them scummy people, and then that's a shiny example of all Philadelphia Eagles fans.
You good? You got it off your chest now?
Well, like, you don't feel the same way?
I don't like them. I hate them.
Exactly, because they're terrible people.
Okay, I'm not gonna say they're all terrible people.
They're terrible people.
Of course, there's probably
they root for the Eagles. How are they not terrible people?
Caleb, you're a Cowboys fan. All right, let's be real here. You suck too. You suck too.
Yeah, but do you hate the Cowboys more than you hate the Eagles?
You're about 50-50.
I mean, let's be honest. You hate the Eagles more.
55-50.
Exactly. You hate the Eagles more.
Yeah. And the Commanders are just there. I feel like the Giants and the Commanders don't really have a rivalry. They're like, you just exist. Like, who cares?
I feel like the 80s were more.
The 80s were better because they had two I think they had 2 Super Bowls. We had 1.
They had 3.
No, they won 1 in the 90s. They beat the Bills in the 90s.
Almost. It was 19.
So yeah, so what's funny about the Bills dynasty? Not dynasty. The four Bills, like, Super Bowls, they all lost to NFC East teams.
Yeah.
Giants, Washington, Cowboys.
Yep.
It was hilarious. They couldn't hang with the big boys, Caleb. The division. I think the only division that each member has at least a Super Bowl, and I think the only division that has 3 members of at least 3 Super Bowls. Because counting all the other divisions, so Steelers, they have 5. No, they have 6. 6?
6.
They have 6. Baltimore has 2. And Cincinnati and Cleveland have 0. Yeah. The Niners, who have 5, they have 5. Seattle has 1. Rams have 1.
They have 2.
No, 2. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, 2. They have 2. And because they won 1 in St. Louis, duh. And the Cardinals have 0. So it's 5-1. It's 5-2-1. Pittsburgh, it's 6-2-0-0. New England, it's 6-0. No, No, 6-1.
6-2-1-0.
Yeah, because Miami has 2. Jets have 1. And who's the 4th team? The Bills have 0. Yeah, the Bills have 0. Yeah, and then in the NFC North,
We did the NFC North. Oh, the NFC North.
Packers have 4?
Yeah, they have
5?
four.
No, the first 2.
They have
They have
4.
4. The Brett Favre and Aaron
Bears
Rodgers
have
and
1. Vikings have 0.
Vikings have 0. Bears have 1. 0-0. Yeah, so we're the only division with 3 members at least with 3 Super Bowls. We are the premier division. That's why our division makes no sense, Caleb, if you think about it.
Why does
Because
it make sense?
we're the NFC East.
Yeah.
So it's Philly, Giants, Washington. Makes sense, right? Philly, Giants, Washington. They're in the East. Why the hell do we have a division rival in Dallas? That's because it was always like that for years, and we're so important. We're so important to the
when they started the Cowboys, they just put them in the East.
exactly. No, I think it was
There
called
was no South.
No, it was a Central. It was a
Yeah,
Central.
there was a Central, but I think that already had like probably too many teams.
Yeah. So yeah, we were the East, and then we've won Super Bowls over the years. They just kept us together.
The Cardinals were in the because they were in Chicago before, so that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. And then Seattle was in the AFC. Then they switched them because of the Texans, and they created the South and the North actually. No, the South. Yeah, the South and the North because Indianapolis played in the AFC East, and there was a rivalry between them, and then they created the South, and they moved Indianapolis to the South, and then Peyton Manning had a great career because the AFC South was horrible.
They weren't even in the AFC; they were in the NFC.
No. This was when the Texans. The Texans when they were already they switched over to the AFC like in the 80s. Yeah. When the Texans showed up in 2002, they're already in the AFC. But before the Texans existed, they had a rivalry with New England for years. They sucked for years together, but it made no sense. But we keep going. The Rams. This game was played in Arizona because of the wildfires in LA. Shout out to everyone. I hope everyone is safe. Unfortunately, I know a couple people have died. A couple people have lost their homes. Our hearts go out to them. We're so sorry for everyone's loss. We know a couple people who live in LA, and a couple people had to evacuate. Hope they're safe. Our thoughts and prayers are with you. So they played in Arizona. Rams beat the living snot out of the Vikings because Sam Darnold is Sam Darnold.
Yeah, he's Sam Darnold.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, we just turned into Sam Darnold again.
Yeah,
played well for most of the season. Just when it got the last 2 games when it really counted, you see him ghost again. You just came on him.
Now, someone pointed out a crazy stat this year about it. Is so like Vikings go on a big old undefeated run. They lose to the Lions, and then they lose to the Rams in back-to-back weeks. Then they go on a long undefeated run.
Yeah, so Lions,
they lose to the Lions and the Rams in back-to-back weeks. So the Rams and the Lions, boom, are their bogey team.
Yeah,
they own them.
I mean, they're just good teams in general. I mean that they're in the divisional round of the playoffs for a reason because they're really good teams. So
yeah,
and can we? It's not good enough to beat those type of teams.
Exactly. Can we talk about how the Rams fixed their defensive line after Aaron Donald retired? Like just like that. Just like that. Kobe Turner, Braden Fisk, Byron Young, Jared Verse, who had a scoop and score this year or in this game, and he flew like Superman. Mm-hmm. See, Caleb, like they fixed their. And here's the thing, too, man. Kobe Turner, Byron Young, 4th round picks.
Yeah, I think that happened because I mean they didn't have like the first 2 picks, right? Yeah. So like their first pick was like a 3rd round pick. So basically, you put all your focus that you would in your 1st round pick. You know how most teams focus on the 1st round pick and the scouting and the resource and all that. They basically put that all into the back end of the rounds. Yeah. So they put all their focus, and all their scouting and all their resources into drafting in those rounds. So it kind of makes sense that they would give some of the best guys from the day 3 and 4 type of players.
Yeah.
They 3 players, not 3, 4.
Speaking of Byron Young, I believe an ESPN radio host. Did you hear the story, Caleb?
No.
They think the Raiders picked the wrong Byron Young, because I remember there was 2 Byron Youngs. They picked the Bama Byron Young, who flamed out, and the Tennessee Byron Young.
Because they called him. They called the Byron Young.
They called the Tennessee Byron Young. Yes.
So that's who they wanted to draft. Because they wouldn't. Why would you not? Why would you call him if you didn't want to draft that guy?
Exactly. So I think. So his name is Raider Nation radio host.
I mean, I guess you could. I guess they could have called the wrong Byron Young,
and then realized, oh, you called the wrong Byron Young. It's the Alabama Byron Young we want.
So I guess maybe the mistake was in the phone numbers that could have been in it.
But here's the thing too: I remember both of them in the SEC. The Tennessee Byron Young was better. Everyone thought the Tennessee Byron Young was better. Everyone knew that because he was the JUCO transfer. Everyone was like, he's better. He's the best. He's the best guy. My thing is this: is them finding Kobe Turner. How do you watch Wake Forest football and say that's my starting defensive tackle? What? And and shout out to them basically stealing Florida State's defensive line this year when they're like, we want Braden Fisk, we want Jared Verse. Boom. They just fixed their defensive line just like that. It took them 2 years, Caleb, and the New York Giants still haven't fixed their defensive line. And it's been 7 years. Just like that, Caleb. So that's why when we talk about our new, let's talk,
that's why it's so great that you guys kept your front office together and your head coach keep on picking those great picks that y'all seem to make.
Exactly, man. So let's talk about the best game of Wild Card Weekend. Commanders Buccaneers. Commanders go on the road and they beat the Buccaneers. It was a great game by Jaden Daniels. Of course, he's gonna torture me for the next 20 years, just like Dak Prescott has done. And so I'm gonna be crying profusely. Mike Evans had a great game, but it wasn't enough because when you watch the game, Caleb, the Buccaneers defensive lines, they almost had him. You know what I mean? When you're watching the game, like, oh, they almost had him. Oh, they had him. Like there was a play where I think Yaya Diaby gets his hands on him. And if he sacks Jaden Daniels, they have to kick a field goal and the ball comes back to Tampa Bay. But Jaden Daniels just escapes Diaby's grasps. He just kept it, how I make fun of Kayvon Thibodeau, the master of the almost sack. He almost had a sack.
Yeah.
Almost had it. That's what Tampa Bay was the last fourth quarter of the game when they were trying to get Jaden Daniels. They almost had him. They almost sacked him. They almost did this. But he just had this factor of like, no, I'm going to win this game. Did you feel that with me? Or were you like, Ferris, you're out of your mind?
No, you're definitely out of your mind all the time.
Okay. All right. Your thoughts?
On this game, I thought the Commanders would win. I picked them to win. I don't know win. So, and I've been kind of right on them the whole season. I mean, I thought they were going to come in at number 2. I thought they were going to be a wild card team. I kind of felt like they were going to be this good. I thought Jaden Daniels would look as good as he does. So yeah, I mean, I feel vindicated for my prediction on that one at least. And then the Bucks. I mean, they're just okay. They're okay team. I mean,
they're a good team. Yeah,
they're okay. I mean, they're not. Nobody thought the Bucks were going to go to the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of where you kind of thought their season was going to end either this round or next round. Because Baker, I mean, he can only get you so far.
Yeah, pretty much. But we keep it moving. Next week, the divisional round, when the real football starts, is what people call it. Sunday. Once again at 1:30, Houston Texans. Why do they do them like that? Why every year they're the 1:00 game? Why is that? Someone pointed that out to me, and I realized, oh yeah, they're is a 1:00 game.
They know it's not going to be the most exciting game, and nobody really
Yeah,
cares
that's
about
a good point.
Texans.
That's a good point. So tomorrow we have Texans, Chiefs, C.J. Stroud, Patrick Mahomes, Nico Collins, Travis Kelce. That phenomenal defensive. Houston has a very good defense. Very good defense. They have that. Aziz Al-Shari in the middle. He gives them that attitude. Aziz. He's a little rough. Some people say he's a little bit dirty. Some people say. I just say he's a little aggressive. I think he's a little too aggressive. He gives them that little punch. And you know what? Imagine drafting CJ Stroud, Caleb, and then coming back, trading back in the top 5 and drafting Will Anderson. Saying like, we want Will Anderson as well. So they hit on their first two picks on there. Will Anderson had a great game last week. I forgot we forgot to talk about him as well. So Will Anderson, he's going to be the key to the game. He needs to get to Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I think they will. I think they'll get after him. The Chiefs don't really blow anyone out, so I don't think they're gonna, take it to the Texans or anything. I think it'd be a tough competitive game, all throughout the game. But I think the defensive line, Texas, you saw them how much they were getting after Justin Herbert, causing him to make mistakes. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes is a lot better in the playoffs, and he's gonna, throw the ball a lot better and not gonna make all the mistakes that Justin Herbert made, but he can make some. As we saw, even what he didn't have the best year this year, and you saw sometimes he did make those turnovers happen. So I'm expect that to happen, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, he will have those type of plays, and he's going to mess up, but somehow he's going to come back, and he's going to be Patrick Mahomes right at the end of the game. And when he really needs to, he's going to make the plays that he needs to make, and he's going to win the game.
Yep, I'm going Chiefs.
Yeah, Chiefs.
All right, and then the nightcap game we have Commanders Lions. I'm gonna go Lions, man. They just have something about them.
Lions. Yeah, this is the rookie quarterback is not going to take them all the way to the Super Bowl. He's played great. He's probably going to win Rookie of the Year. But this is where it ends. Lions are too good. I think they're going to win and blow out.
You know what's crazy too about the Lions, Caleb? They have so many injuries.
Yeah, I mean, but I think they proved that they can overcome those injuries, especially against the Vikings when they were, second Sam Darnold a lot in that last game. It showed that they can, manage that and, do whatever they can to maybe cover up some of their gaps due to injury. And it shows that they definitely can, I don't think it will be a problem for them going forward. Maybe they get burned here and there, but I think overall even if they do get burned like that in their secondary, that their offense is just good enough to score with anybody. So they can go back and forth, point for point.
Hey, baby, let's go out there like a bunch of crazy dogs and have some fun.
That's how the Lions play, man. That's how the Lions play. And here's the thing, they're also getting people back from injury. I think Aiden Hutchinson is looking like he's probably going to play. So, yeah, man, the Lions, man. Hey, man, I'll say this, man. I think they're going to try to win the Super Bowl this year because they know the OC and the DC, they're gone. I think Aaron Glenn and I think Ben Johnson, they're gone. I think Ben Johnson's going to Vegas. So, good for you. And I think Aaron
gonna have the quarterbacks. I don't know how much he's gonna do.
Well, he'll figure it out. And then
will he? I mean, how can you figure out with no quarterback?
That's a good point. And I think Aaron Glenn's gonna go to the Jets. I think someone said I think the report was Aaron Glenn has told people he wants the Jets job. That's what.
Why do you want him to be there?
I don't know. The man's
Aaron Rodgers or no quarterback.
Well, you know what? I don't know. Shout out to Aaron Glenn, man. You want to talk about a man who has a hard worker. He started as a scout. Most players, they become like assistant coaches or like coaching analysts. He went to become a scout first, and he learned the scouting process because he said the scouting process helps me with my coaching. That may be a new trend you may do, but shout out to Aaron Glenn. So I think they're trying to. I think they make it to the Super Bowl. I think the Lions do. And then the Sunday game, Rams Eagles. I'm going Rams.
I'm going Rams too.
Yeah,
because they win a lot. It just doesn't seem like they should win. They ride off the back of Saquon Barkley working on lower teams, and Hurts doesn't throw the ball that very much. They rely heavily on the run. If the Rams can contain it somewhat, then they didn't score a lot of points last week, so I think the Rams can just outscore them.
Yep. And then the marquee game of the week: Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Bills, Ravens, a rematch of week 2 or 3, where the Ravens blew out the Bills. It's a rematch of playoffs where I think the Bills have beaten them, the Ravens have beaten them. The Bills beat them in like a slugfest, I think a couple years ago, where it was like, well, it was like 14-7 or 14-10 or like some nasty old school winter game. Ravens are a little different, Bills a little different. I'm gonna go Ravens slight edge. Ravens slight because of Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I think it'll be closer than the last time.
Yeah.
I think the last time they did show that they were a better team overall, and obviously, just looking at the talent between the two teams, they are the better team overall. And just between the quarter, it's going to be really cold. That game might hinder the pass game, which means a lot of Derrick Henry running the ball, a lot of Lamar running the ball, and I don't think the Bills showed that they can't handle it. They can't stop that rush attack from the Ravens. So I think that's why they get beat here.
Yeah, because the Buffalo Bills fans are talking about like, oh, we didn't have Terrion Johnson, and we didn't have.
They didn't have a lot of.
But here's the thing, Caleb.
Guys.
Yeah, you're right.
But that's why I think it's going to be closer.
Their offense didn't score. But their offense. Their offense didn't score. They had 10 points.
The Ravens defense wasn't really good at that point in time.
But now they're better.
Yeah, now they're better. So I guess you can go look at both of them, but that's exactly why I think it's going to be not a blowout this time. I think it'd be a closer game, but I think just the Ravens going to beat them because they're better.
I think the Ravens are not going to score as many points because they scored 38. I think. And I think Buffalo only scored 10. The offense is still the same, and the Ravens defense got better. You know what I mean? And the Buffalo Bills, they're talking about, oh, we have Terrion Johnson and Matt Milano coming back. Yeah, they don't play offense.
Yeah.
Your problem wasn't that your defense gave up 38 points. That's fine, but your offense
didn't score either.
Your offense scored 10 points,
and that's when they were bad.
Yeah, when the Ravens defense was bad.
Yeah.
When we have Ravens fans, they come on the show all the time. Shout out to Hendo. Shout out to Jose. Shout out to not Derek. Derek's a Panthers fan. Shout out to shout out to pseudo Ravens fan Brodney. We know.
He gets on a lot of Ravens podcasts.
That's why I said pseudo.
I don't understand why.
I don't understand why. That's why I said pseudo. Shout out to Coach. Shout out to Coach Evans. Shout out to Sip to Tally. I know Chris just joking. Adrian. Shout out to them. They lambasted the defense all season. Like, this defense is ass. It's bad. They're not good. And then they finally got better. So you played a bad Ravens defense, and you only scored 10 points. Now the Ravens defense is better. You're screwed. Like, let's say the Ravens, your defense, Matt Milano, Terrion Johnson are back. The Ravens only scored 22 points.
Yeah. Then it's just like a 22-7 game.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So, I like Josh Allen. Seems like a nice guy. But we play football. It's not about being nice. You know what I mean? I don't care about your 4.0 GPA. I don't care that you bake cookies with grandma. I don't care. I don't care. Dogs. You know what I mean? The Ravens do have an Achilles heel in their defense that they need to address really heavily. Brandon Stevens, he gets abused. The Giants abused him. You know what I mean? Tim Boyle abused Brandon Stevens. You know what I mean? With Malik Neighbors. So they need to provide coverage for, help for him. Probably going to be Kyle Hamilton. Probably. But, outside of that, I think the Ravens win. If the Ravens do beat them down, like they drop 30 on them, I wouldn't be shocked. You know what I mean? I would be shocked if the Buffalo Bills offense scores points. You know what I mean? That's how I would be. But I digress. So we're going, Caleb, I'm going Ravens, Rams. So we're agreeing on that. We agree on the Commanders and we agree on the Chiefs. We agree. Put that on the parlay.
I am putting a parlay.
Oh, hey, put it on the parlay for me.
That was literally if you watch betting the NFL, that's literally my bets that I made.
Boom, there it is. Guys, betting the NFL every Wednesday, 8 o'clock Pacific. You want to make money? You come here, we make you some money. If you don't want to make money, He's stupid. That's all I gotta say. But now let's talk about the nitty-gritty, Caleb. The news for us specifically, the New York Giants and the Dallas Cowboys. Big news coming out. Coaches got fired. My coach was a positional coach. Your coach was the head coach. Mike
He
McCarthy's
didn't
not
get
coming.
fired necessarily.
They didn't re-sign him. Okay, fine.
I mean, you
fine.
can't get fired if you don't work for the team.
Okay, fine. Mike McCarthy's not coming back. They're not re-upping his deal. They're not re-signing him. He's gone. There's also a little caveat to the coaching news story. Jerry Jones has spoken to Deion Sanders about the Dallas Cowboys job.
Yeah.
Caleb.
We'll say one thing right now. How about them Cowboys?
What's going on with the Cowboys?
A lot of news talking points going on with us, just like every other week.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how Jerry Jones likes to do it. He likes to keep the Cowboys in the news
In the cycle. Yeah.
with just any type of story that he can muster up. And if he has to throw out there that he's been talking to Deion Sanders, then he'll do that, even though that's not really his intention at all. Which that's why I believe that it is. It's just a news story. It's not really gonna do anything. It's not really gonna happen. Because that's just not what I mean. Jerry Jones hires two types of guys. He either hires guys that he likes and he's comfortable with and that he knows, or he hires guys that has previous coaching experience, such as, he knew Jimmy Johnson, he knew Barry Switzer, he knew Jason Garrett, and he knew so he was comfortable with those guys hiring those kind of coach. Or he hires guys like at coaching experience like Bill Parcells, Wade Phillips, or
but it didn't work with Parcells because when you hired the Big Tuna got opinions.
And Mike McCarthy himself. That's the other one. They had the previous coaching experience who won won a lot of games.
Either a friend or a Super Bowl coach.
Yeah, well, except Wade Phillips, he wasn't in the Super Bowl, but he at least went to the playoffs previously. But just guys with a lot of coaching experience and been in the league a long time. That's the guys he likes to hire. And it does match up. Deion, obviously, someone who knows that he likes, but I think there's another copy. Is he comfortable with that? Is he comfortable with Deion Sanders as his spotlight?
He also has opinions. His voice will be heard.
I think that's the part that he fits into he knows and likes them, but is he comfortable with them? I think that's the piece that's missing.
Yeah, he's probably comfortable with him
and I don't think he is. I don't think he's comfortable with them, and that's why I think it's not going to happen. But I could be wrong. He could just want to hire him just to have a news story.
It would be the biggest story.
Yeah, so that's why I think it could happen. But ultimately, I don't think he's going to do the stupid thing, because that's what he does. He does the stupid thing, and the conventional Cowboys thing, which is usually not hiring the right guy, and that you're probably going to hire someone like Kellen Moore because he knows him, likes him, comfortable with him.
Speaking of Kellen Moore, they have requested to interview him.
That's exactly what's going to happen. He's going to end up hiring him.
Yeah,
that's the Jason Garrett cookie cutter Cowboys type of coach that he wants to hire.
Yeah, because here's the thing: they hired Deion. Are they going to trade Dak to Tennessee for the number one pick?
Well, Deion said he was comfortable. He was excited to coach Dak. At least that was reported that he wanted to coach Dak.
I just think Deion fits better with college because, I like Deion. He has his faults. I know about his faults. He needs total control. And there's only one way to get total control in football. Be a head coach at a Power 5 conference or a Power 5 team in a Power 5 conference. People talk about, NIL, coaches don't have control. They still do. It's if you know how to use it properly. That's why a lot of these old coaches are retiring, because they don't know how to use it. They don't know. They don't know. One, now everything's public. You can now pay players and you can get them to your school. Nick Saban got very upset at Shane Gillis on NFL on College Game Day, where he basically told him,
he told the truth. Like, he wasn't that, because Shane Gillis says that after talking afterwards, after they were shooting, he goes up to him and he was actually really pissed at him.
He was. And it was funny is, like, he had to help him down from the stage, and like Nick was like, I'm looking for anyone else but Shane Gillis. You know what I mean? Fun fact: apparently, Nick's,
because
Nick's daughter thinks he's funny.
You really think we pay these guys? You think we would,
compromise our integrity? It's like Nick.
Like hell yeah, why not? Everybody else does.
Everyone else did. Yeah, so I'm like, and Nick was like, my recruiting pitch was like, I sent people to the league. Yeah, Nick, no offense. A lot of your Alabama players flamed out.
I mean, okay, so
no, if you really think about it, Caleb, the Nick Saban NFL players,
like,
how many of them panned out to be as good as they were? Julio, Dante Hightower was pretty damn good. CJ Mosley was good. Amari Cooper, Devontae Smith,
Trayvon
Diggs. Jerry Judy's finally figured it out. Jalen Waddle is, he figured it out. If you really think about it, he has more misses than hits. Drake Kirkpatrick had a great career in Cincinnati. He was pretty good. Drake Kirkpatrick had pretty good. It was him and Darqueze Dennard.
What about Minka
Fitzpatrick. There's him, yeah.
I think he has a lot of guys. He's a good coach. I mean, he's a great coach.
He's a good coach.
You're not going to deny he wasn't a great coach. But the fact is that who's he trying to convince that he didn't pay guys? Like, why are you so
fine?
Why, yeah, exactly. It's fine. Like, we all know it happened. We have it now. It's okay now.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why you're such a stickler that we did it the right way and we never. Who you were trying to convince? We don't even care if you did.
Because here's the thing too, Caleb.
We care that you're lying about it.
No. Here's the thing too, Caleb. You pay the kids. You pay the kids the money. You still got to coach them and you still got to develop them.
Yeah.
You did a great job doing that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. Like, why? Who's he trying to give to him? Why?
This is what I like about Eric Dickerson, Caleb. This is what I like about Eric Dickerson. This is what I like about Eric Dickerson. For years, he denied ever accepting a payment from SMU. For years, he did it. And then when it was finally legal, he was like, yeah, they gave me the Trans Am. It was Texas A&M. They gave me the Trans Am. Oh, yeah, SMU gave me a shit ton of money. Now that it's legal, no one cares. But Eric Dickerson, shout out to the homie that he is, always protected his college, saying they never gave me nothing. But now no one cares. No one cares.
Yeah, the only reason why we care is because you keep lying about it.
Yeah, no one cares. Like, there's been instances of Florida giving people money. Old Miss, with Robert Kemdici and his brother and Laramie Tunsil, they called and said, "Hey man, I need some money." And one of the homies was, "All right, go to this parking lot. There's gonna be a bag underneath the car." And there was a bag of money underneath the car, like for Laramie Tunsil. Like, it's fine, bro. Georgia get paid people. Like, I'm sorry, like, you can't convince me Landon Collins came to Alabama, being a New Orleans kid. Like, of course he should have went to LSU unless you gave him some.
Yeah, it doesn't make you a worse coach if everybody was doing it.
Exactly. It doesn't, but it's fine. What was the original? Oh, yeah, Deion Sanders. Yeah, he knows how to navigate NIL. He knows how to tell people, like, he's fine with the kids getting paid, but he says, hey, man, y'all gotta have good grades, though. If you out here failing, it's going to mess up your money. And, shout out to Deion Sanders. For the first time ever, Colorado finally had a 3.0 as a football team for the first time ever. They got a 3.0. That's tremendous. That's average. That's average for the team. If you're on a football team, there's like, in a college football team, there's like 80 players, right? There's 80 players. So of course there's going to become a couple of stupid people on the team. There's going to be a couple of smart people on the team. You know what I mean? So 3.0 is a great indicator of great investment in education. So Deion, he knows how to operate it. And I just think it's his opinion that matters in college. His opinion. You come to him for advice. His opinion. He runs the show. When you go to the pros, that's why a lot of these college football coaches don't work. Nick Saban, Bobby Petrino, for an example. There's no my way or the highway in the pros. These are grown men with $1 million contracts, with families and kids. You're not going to talk to them a certain kind of way. You know what I mean? This is their job. So you need to watch your mouth. That's why I think Pete Carroll is a very underrated coach. I think he's one of the best coaches of all time because he did it both. It worked. He was a pro coach. He was good in New England. He was meh in New York. Goes to the college, creates a dynasty at USC, Who cares that they paid Reggie Bush money? He created a dynasty at USC, leaves USC, goes to Seattle, and rebuilds Seattle. One of the best coaches of all time. Shout out to Pete Carroll. But yeah, I don't think Deion's going to become the coach.
No, I don't either.
Yeah.
It's not. We just don't do the type of things we do.
Yeah.
We tell him more.
Kellen Moore.
What we do.
Yeah.
And I would hate that. Do we still have his playbook?
Do we? I think so. Hold up. Do we? Let's go to media assets. Kellen Moore. No, wait. Yep.
Oh yeah, there's Kellen May's playbook.
Yeah, there it is. There
you go.
But yeah. But speaking of New York Giants news, let's talk to the other team in blue. Two big pieces. They fired Jerome Henderson, our defensive backs coach that they gave a promotion to, but then they fired. They're just looking for scapegoats, really. They're blaming Jerome Henderson, which is crazy to me because last year they told Denard Wilson he can't bring in his own staff because they wanted to keep a couple members of their staff, one being Jerome Henderson. And then you fire Jerome Henderson. Is it his fault that his DBs suck? You didn't give him good players to work with. You gave him a rookie who barely played this year because of injury. Dane Belton. Tay Banks hasn't been good. Jason Pinnock is in and out. And who's the second cornerback? Trey Hawkins III. That experiment failed. You know what I mean? You still got to get good players for them to coach. This is all Joe Shane's fault. The other big piece of news, the big piece of news coming out of the Giants space is that they're coming back. Joe Shane and Brian Daboll survived Black Monday. A lot of coaches got fired. Gerard Mayo, Antonio Pierce got fired. Who else got fired?
I don't know. There's.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
But Mike Vrabel's already in New England.
Yep.
And
the teams are taking a little more time in picking their coach
because they're why? You know why? Because they're waiting for the Detroit coordinators.
Detroit Lions.
They're waiting for the Detroit coordinators.
Yeah, because usually I think like within the first week you see the hires start coming
exactly.
in fast.
The Jets are have an opening. New Orleans has an opening. So New Orleans is waiting for Aaron Glenn because Aaron Glenn played for New Orleans and New York.
Well, there's only two of them, so someone's going to be left out. Searching for whoever is out there.
Yeah. Ran Carthon, the GM in Tennessee, got fired. He was replaced today by Mike Borgonzi. He's the assistant GM in Kansas City. He's Brett Veach's right-hand man. Now he's the GM in Tennessee. The Raiders completely cleaned house. They fired Tom Telesco. They fired Antonio Pierce. Funny enough, by Tom Telesco, he drafted them a generational tight end who's probably going to be like Tony Gonzalez, a tight end on a bad team, so like Tony was on Kansas City.
But he drafted them quarterback.
Yeah, he couldn't because they're all gone. So
they were not gone.
Oh yeah. They could have drafted Michael Penix. That's true. Because they were 6, right? They were 6.
They could have drafted Bo Nix. They could have drafted Michael Penix.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Good point.
They draft McCarthy.
Yeah, it's true.
But they took a tight end.
Yeah,
he's a great tight end, but
he was actually
any wins.
Crazy fact about him. He was like the second best player in the draft, but the problem is he played tight end.
Yeah, but it doesn't amount to any wins. You don't win, so who cares?
He broke the tight end receiving record and the rookie receiving record, and they were what 3 and 14. That's why he
got fired, and that's exactly why the Giants should have fired Joe Shane because it doesn't matter that you got Malik Neighbors. You didn't take a quarterback.
Yes.
And who cares honestly, the rest of the team, I would say besides the offensive line, who cares what type of talent you have? You're not going to win when you don't have a quarterback.
Exactly.
Honestly, if I was the Giants, I would trade Malik Neighbors right now to get up in the draft to take quarterback. Because what's the point? What's the point if you don't have a quarterback?
We're 3. We're behind Cleveland and Tennessee.
I think with Malik Neighbors, you can get up to number 1.
Well, honestly, I think they can get to number
I'm
one.
not saying you have to, but I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying I would if that was the case. Because who cares if you have like neighbors if you have no quarterback?
Yeah, I don't think we need to trade Malik Neighbors to get to one. The
No,
third.
I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying I would do that.
Yeah,
Because
I wouldn't.
My point was like it doesn't matter.
Well, the point being is Malik Neighbors is the epitome of
Well, you're best player right now.
No, he's great player, bad pick.
Yeah, and my
Great player,
point was
bad pick.
that even if your best player is not your quarterback, you might as well trade him to get to make your best player your quarterback.
Yeah. So yeah, honestly, Joe Schoen's roster has not been good. He needs to be fired. The best players on the New York Giants team, funnily enough, are David Gettleman's players: Dexter Lawrence, Andrew Thomas. People talk about Xavier McKinney a lot, and they're like, "Oh, look how great he was in Green Bay." Fun fact about Xavier McKinney: he sucked for the first 3 years in New York. He sucked. He played good. He played good. Then he played decent his last 2 years in New York, and the Giants let him go. Like this revisionist history that Xavier McKinney for 5 years in New York was great.
Well, apparently a lot of Giants fans love him. I mean, I saw an X that it was like between who would you take between Saquon Barkley or Xavier McKinney? Everybody's picking Xavier McKinney over Barkley.
Yeah, because the running back thing, you can replace a running back whenever. Which is here's the thing, Caleb. The Giants did what a common NFL practice did. They got rid of the running back and the safety because people have been saying for years those two positions are easily replaceable. The problem is you didn't fucking replace them. That's why you should be fired. And you didn't just not replace them. You gave fucking Daniel Jones $60 million. And then you cut him because you knew you fucked up. And then you wasted $30 million on John Runyon and Devin Singleton and who else? I don't fucking know. The money you could have just given Saquon Barkley if you wanted to keep Saquon Barkley. Yep. But you wasted their money on that. But the thing is, the offensive line was in shambles, so you had to go grab the offensive lineman. But here's the thing too. They went bargain bin shopping for offensive linemen. Robert Hunt was right there. But they didn't want to give Robert Hunt $18 million, knowing he would have changed this offensive line. Because guess what happened in Carolina? Their guards changed the offensive line.
Yeah, that's why I said everything except for the offensive line, because there's just not that many offensive line.
But here's the thing, Caleb. Or you do this. You draft better offensive linemen. Look what fucking Philadelphia did. 3 of their starters are drafted. 4 of their starters are drafted offensive linemen. Landon Dickerson, Cam Jurgens, Lane Johnson. They drafted him. And wait, is it Jordan Mailata, their left tackle?
Yeah.
Jordan Mailata. They found Jordan Mailata playing rugby. He had never played NFL football, period. 4 of their offensive linemen are
nobody's played NFL football when you draft them.
Well, you know what I meant. I mean, he never played football, like American football. He played rugby. So they drafted 4 players, Caleb. And 4. They drafted 4 players. And now those players are going to be there for the next 15 years. Well, Lane Johnson has been there for like
15 years. I mean,
yeah, Lane Johnson's been there for a long time.
Yeah.
Jason Kelce retires. And everyone's like, oh my God, how are they going to replace Jason Kelce? Cam Jurgens. They said Fletcher Cox retired. How are they going to replace Fletcher Cox? Oh my God. Jalen Carter. The Giants lost Saquon and Xavier McKinney. You didn't fucking replace them. They lost Eli Manning. They didn't fucking replace him. They dragged Eli Manning's career out because they were too scared to move on. Because they're fucking cowards. They're cowards.
So many holes you have to fill. You have to, you only have 1 first round pick. You have to make it. It's going to be on the receiver because your receiver core was horrible.
Mm-hmm.
But it should have been your quarterback. That's what I'm saying. You got to start with the quarterback first.
Always start with the quarterback. Because if you miss on a quarterback,
let's try again.
You
just keep trying it. I don't understand why you just can't keep draft them until you get it right. Because there's no point of drafting anybody else until you get the quarterback right.
Because here's the thing too, Caleb. But here's the thing too, Caleb. on the rookie contract, if you hit on the rookie contract, you can just trade for a star receiver like Philadelphia did. They had Jalen Hurts on a rookie contract. You know what they did? They traded for AJ Brown.
Yeah.
Then they drafted Devontae Smith.
Even if you're in the later in the rounds, later in the round, trade up future picks to get up into so you got that quarterback.
Or you draft your star receiver at 24, like Jacksonville did. People love Brian Thomas Jr. They think he's a receiver 1. And everyone agrees. He is. He was just overshadowed by Malik Neighbors. You found a receiver 1 at pick 27. Going back to the Rams, Caleb. They have 1 first-round pick starting for them on the defensive line. 1 is Jared Verse. The other 3, second round, fourth round, fourth round. There are more players who have first-round grades than first-round spots.
That's what I'm saying. When they have the quarterback, they can do that type of thing.
Yeah.
They can,
but they couldn't even do that anyway. That's what I'm trying to tell you. They couldn't even find them anyway. They couldn't even find gems. They drafted Joshua Zudu, Marcus McCathan.
Mm-hmm.
Who are these dudes? Here's the thing too. They drafted John Michael Schmitz, which everyone agreed was the number 1 center in the draft. But there were a couple people who liked Joe Tipton a little bit better, the center out of Wisconsin. People were like, John Michael Schmitz, he's 26. He's a little too old. I don't think he's strong enough to be a center. So they got that. They drafted Tyler Nubin, who's the number 1 safety in the draft. I'm not mad about that. But the other picks didn't work. They didn't work. But it is what it is. I need them fired. John Mara. I don't understand why haven't you fired them. They shouldn't have survived Black Monday, but I digress. On that note, I cuss too much. I apologize for my foul language. I'm trying to be a little bit more professional. I apologize. But they suck at their job and they need to be fired. But on that note, who doesn't suck at his job? Caleb. Caleb, where can people find you, my man?
You can find me at NFL Caleb 22 on Instagram and Twitter/X. You can find me on this channel, then the NFL, Wednesdays at 8 o'clock. So you can find me.
You guys can find me. My name is Ferris Muthana. You can find me here every Friday, 3 o'clock Pacific, live or pre-taped on Good Friends, Better Rivals. You also can find me on X at Ferris Muthana. I'm also on Blue Sky at ferrismuthana.bluesky.social. I'm also on Instagram, but I don't really use Instagram at @the_Ferris_Muthana. I should use Instagram more, but I digress. I should.
Yeah,
I should.
Start taking pictures.
Huh?
Start taking pictures. Take videos.
Take pictures and videos.
Yeah.
All right. But on that note, everyone, thank you guys so much for joining us. Have a wonderful day. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel. Join our coffee page at ko-fi.com/LGR_network. We have a multitude of tiers. You can join them. Also, if you want to make a one-time donation, that would be also great as well. But thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.